Rocking the merch. Check out the new channel if you get a chance. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have to take a moment to vent about healthcare in the US. The amount of people I hear from who are absolutely ignorant about how terrible the US healthcare system is staggering. So I'm going to break down exactly what healthcare is like for us. I'm self-employed, so I pay for my own health insurance policy. This policy is for a decent insurance plan, which is actually downright awful. But compared to insurance in the US, it's on the top end of what you can get. Medical insurance plans in the US don't include eyes and teeth. For some reason, we've decided that those body parts are not important parts of the human body. My health insurance plan had the option to add a basic dental plan from a third-party company, which we did. My premium for that plan is $1,303 a month American, which works out to be 1,215 euros. But that's not all that I pay. It includes a copay, so every time someone goes to the doctor, I have to pay $30. It's not a ton, but in a family of 4, it adds up. Then the insurance doesn't cover 100% of everything. I might have to pay 20% of any procedure that's done. Then there are things that the insurance company outright refuses to cover. I pay 100% of those charges, which are on the rarer side, I will admit. I don't pay those things directly to the doctor, though. When someone goes to the doctor bills my insurance and they pay them everything. Then they tack what I should have owed onto my monthly premium, so on average I pay about $1,450 a month to my insurance company. Now, to anyone in any other civilized country in the world, that's an outrageous number. Unfortunately, it's actually cheaper than some people's insurance in the US. It's very sad. My insurance doesn't cover all of my medications either. All but one are covered, yet I still have to pay like $1.15 or 79 cents for them. It's strange, instead of just covering them 100%, I have to pay a matter of cents when I pick them up from the pharmacy. There's one medication that I take that my insurance won't cover, and I pay $60 a month for that. So I generally pay more than $1,500 American or 1,400 euros a month for insurance, medical care, and prescriptions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, you must clearly be able to go anywhere you want and receive medical care, right? Oh, no. That's crazy talk. You have to go to a medical provider that accepts your insurance. There are a dozen different insurance companies who have different types of insurance coverage, and not every medical care provider accepts every company. And if they do accept insurance from your insurance company, they might not accept the type of insurance plan you have. And even if you check ahead of time to ensure your doctor takes the insurance plan you're signing up for, they actually might not. I got insurance through Blue Shield California, which is one of the biggest insurers in my state. Alright, I forgot to tell you that the insurance policies are only for your state, so when we moved from Washington down to California, I had to get a different insurance policy. I had to get special permission to get my insurance policy at that time because there's only 1 month out of the year that you're allowed to sign up for a new health insurance policy. The rest of the year, you either need to go without or have a special reason to sign up outside of the sign-up window, such as having just moved to the state or having changed employers. If I'm traveling and get sick or injured in another state, I will be covered, but it will be a bureaucratic nightmare. So I got a plan through Blue Shield California, which is a big insurer in this state. But when I go to a doctor who takes my plan through that insurer, I get denied. It's because our insurance policy is through a smaller subsidiary of Blue Shield California that's specific to the area we live in. So that means a whole different set of healthcare providers accept our insurance than I thought did when I signed up for insurance. Even though the company is specific to our area, there are much fewer providers who take this insurance. It's mind-boggling. Actually, it isn't. The US system of health insurance is intentionally set up to be confusing and hard to use. This ensures that insurance companies don't have to pay out as much money and can maximize profits. This is a big reason why we're leaving the US. This country has prioritized corporate profits over the health and well-being of its citizens. The US has made it so that insurance companies can deny life-saving treatment in order to not have to spend money. The CEOs of those companies have multi-million-dollar salaries, while people either get denied treatment altogether or are put into life-crippling debt in order to receive life-saving treatment. Insurance companies in the US have agents that their sole job is to find ways to deny treatment. Not for people trying to game the system, but for everybody. When I was still working construction, about 12 years ago, I fell backwards off of a ladder and the main impact was on my upper back right between my shoulder blades. I was lucky that I pulled my head up so I didn't smash the back of my head, which could have possibly killed me. I actually worked the last few hours of the day because it usually isn't until the next day that the pain really sets in. And that's what happened. The next morning I couldn't move without excruciating pain. At first I thought maybe my ribs were broken, but they weren't. I went to the doctor, got x-rays, and luckily I hadn't broken any bones, but I had major soft tissue damage to my upper back. It was weeks before I could even walk without constant pain. I couldn't twist or bend or lift anything. Of course, it was an on-the-job injury, so it was covered under workman's comp, which is Labor and Industries, or L&I in Washington state. L&I is supposed to cover your medical bills for your treatment of any on-the-job injury, but like any other insurance company, their main priority is to deny claims. I fell off a ladder in front of multiple witnesses and hurt my back. It was pretty cut and dry, but L&I wasn't about to give up. First, I was expected to go to physical therapy, which would have been great if I were able to go on a consistent basis. The way L&I worked was they would pre-approve a block of appointments, so I'd be approved for 5 physical therapy sessions. Then the clinic would have to wait for approval for more sessions, which it would take L&I 2 to 4 weeks to approve. So I would literally go to 5 sessions over a week and a half and then wait up to a month for more sessions to be approved. I don't know if any of you know much about physical therapy, but that didn't help me in any way. So unsurprisingly, I never got better. This went on for about a year, and then finally the agent working my case determined that my back pain was from a pre-existing condition. I was never told and still have no idea what this pre-existing condition I had was. I already had a herniated disc in my lower back that will still cause me back pain if I stand or walk for a long period of time. But it had absolutely nothing to do with the pain in my upper back. From falling off a ladder. The pain I felt after falling off the ladder was not even close to being in the same place as my herniated disc. I eventually got cut off from L&I and there was nothing I could do about it. So 12 years later, I still have persistent pain in my upper back between my shoulder blades. Health insurance in the US is not set up to help people. It's set up to make money. Medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in the US. Let me repeat that. Medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in the US. Not gambling or credit cards or housing market crashes. Medical debt. Something human beings need in order to live is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in one of the richest countries in the world. The CEO of every medical insurance company in this country has a multi-million-dollar annual salary, and yet American citizens are going bankrupt because they needed life-saving medical treatment. That's fucked up. It's believed that my wife may have a genetic condition, and she spent the last 3 months trying to find a geneticist that our insurance will let us use. The doctor gave her a referral, but there's only one geneticist in our area that sees adults, and they don't take our insurance. So the insurance has had to make a special exception, which is apparently still ongoing. So 3 months in, and there's no real way to know when she might be able to finally see a geneticist. If she ever does. That's another tricky tactic of the medical insurance companies. They give you the runaround for long enough that you eventually just give up. You're tired of having to try to get an answer from the insurance company, and then bam, they don't have to pay for whatever you were trying to have done. It's all a complete scam. And then you have to remember that none of this includes my eyes. Once a year I pay $90 to see an optometrist at Costco, and then I order new glasses online. That's on top of the $1,500+ I spend on medical insurance and care each month. Hilariously, something happened last night that's a great example of the healthcare system in the US. We have this pillow that goes on the head of our bed, and it's like a wedge so you can sit up in bed more comfortably. Sometimes we don't want it there, so it's on the floor at the foot of the bed. When I was going to bed last night, it was sticking out into the area that I walk in to get to my side of the bed, so I kicked it to push it back over. But instead of the pillow moving, I bent my big toe down in a really weird way. I honestly thought it might be broken, and my plan was, if I woke up in the morning and it was swollen, I would put ice on it and then tape it to the toe next to it, because that's ultimately what they do at the hospital. The amount of hassle it is and the extra cost I would have to pay was easily enough to make me not seek medical attention for a broken bone, and I have decent insurance and can afford whatever extra cost it would be to me. To all of the Americans who are struggling financially, this decision is made every time they get sick or injured. Can I afford to go to the doctor? So many people don't go to the doctor when they're sick or injured because they can't afford it, and some of those people die because of it. Many Americans don't get regular checkups due to the cost of medical care, and they end up not catching preventable illnesses because of it. Some of those people die due to that. Americans are dying because of the cost of medical care in the US, and the CEOs of insurance companies and hospitals are taking home multi-million-dollar salaries. Am I un-American because I think the health of the citizens of this country should be priorities above the bank accounts of CEOs? Some people think so. There are American citizens who think it's un-American to question the way the country is run while they themselves are struggling to afford medical care. It's absolutely insane. And just so you know, my toe is a little sore today, but it's definitely not broken. I want to live somewhere that believes it's okay to sacrifice a little in order to make other people's lives better. Why do Americans believe that that is such a horrible thing? Why do so many of them allow their own lives to be sacrificed so a handful of millionaires and billionaires can put more money into their own pockets? We know for a fact the money is not trickling down. A paper published by the London School of Economics, where they studied tax cuts in 18 developed countries over a 50-year period, proves that. In countries that cut taxes for the rich, the incomes of those same people rose while gross domestic product and unemployment rates remained nearly identical. So cutting taxes for the rich made them make more money, and none of it trickled down to anyone else. This is a fact, so please stop letting American politicians prioritize the rich over your well-being. They are getting richer and you are getting sicker. Healthcare in the US is one of the top reasons we're leaving the country. We're no longer willing to participate in the system. Of course, we're also leaving because of gun violence, crime, religious extremism, and the lack of human rights for certain groups of people. Those are the main reasons we're leaving, some of which I've discussed in more detail, and some I will in the future. If you have any questions for me personally or about my upcoming move to the Netherlands, you can leave them in the comments. If you like this video, hit subscribe and you can continue on this journey with me. Thanks so much, and be safe.